Hi guys, glory be to God. Welcome to the Keep Woman channel. We're living for God's Made Practical. I'm Mariah and thanks for tuning in. So today I have a very special video for you guys. Today's video is for anyone who has been promised a kingdom spouse or has ever prayed for God to deliver you a spouse. If that sounds like you, you are going to want to stay tuned until the end of the video. Let's go. So let's dive right in. So the inspiration for this video comes from the fact that the kingdom spouses were on my mind. And I had thought about briefly whether or not, God would send me a kingdom spouse because I'm single. And so when I was thinking about it, I veered off and I started to think about what we would wear, what we would eat, where we would live, you know what I'm saying? The activities we would do, what they would like, what I would like. And those things are perfectly fine for you to take into consideration. But I mentioned in the previous video that if you are asking God to deliver you a blessing, you have to be prepared to receive that blessing. And it isn't until you become prepared to receive that blessing that you actually get it, right? And so even though those were the things that I was thinking about, those were the things I took into consideration when considering whether or not God would give me a kingdom spouse, I had to step outside of myself to view it from God's point of view. This is what I want you to do with all your blessings, but I had to step outside myself if this is something that I was serious about. I had to step outside of myself and think about it from God's point of view, right? Because He's the releaser of the blessings. And while I may be thinking about what we will do, what we will eat, what we will wear, God does not think like that, right? If God is going to introduce someone into your life, if God is going to give you a kingdom spouse, He is giving you someone who has the same purpose as you, someone who is going to come into your life and be the missing link you need to help you fulfill whatever assignment God has given you on your life. And so that was the perspective I had to consider, because through that lens, I can see the areas that need improvement. I can see the areas that I need to work on to get closer to receiving this blessing. If God is wanting to give you a destiny helper, right? Your kingdom spouse, the spouse that God gives you, is simply going to be your destiny helper. That person is going to come into your life and help you. They're going to have the skills and the tools and everything that you don't have to help you fulfill your assignment, right? And so if we're thinking about it on a purpose level, then you have to ask yourself, are you ready to fulfill that purpose? Are you prepared to fulfill that purpose, right? Are you willing to allow someone to come into your life to help you with that purpose? Because maybe you've been operating for a long time. If you're someone such as myself, I have been operating for a very long time. So if I was ever in a circumstance where I had to be a partner with someone else in fulfilling whatever assignment God has on my life, that would be outside of my comfort zone, because I like handling things on my own. I've done it all my life. So I'm very used to that and I'm very comfortable with that. So I would have to ask myself, and I'm just using myself as an example because I'm the only one here. And so I would have to ask myself, is that something that I'm actually prepared for? You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not prepared to allow someone else to come in to help me with this destiny thing, or if I'm not prepared to go help someone else with that destiny thing, then I have some prayer in an area that I need to work on, right? Another thing I had to take into consideration was the fact that if God is giving you a spouse, if God is sending someone into your life, He loves that person very much. That person is the apple of His eye. So are you, right? But if you are someone who has been operating by yourself for a long time, or you find out who your kingdom spouse is and you really don't see it, you don't see it. You don't see what God sees in this person. You don't know why God picked this person. You might even think God picked the wrong person, okay? And you don't see it, right? So you can't receive that treasure that God is holding in His hands. Like I said, that person is the apple of God's eye. You can't receive His treasure if you don't think as much of it as He does, right? Because why would God give you a treasure that you won't cherish? So that is another area that I will have to key in on. If I don't see in my kingdom spouse what I need to see to get behind this person, because as I mentioned, this person is my destiny helper. To get behind this person and execute and fulfill the destiny and calling on my life, I've just identified another area that I need to pray about. I need to pray for God to reveal this person to me. I need to pray for God to allow me to see this person the way He does. I need to pray to God to allow me to understand and give me revelation about what this person will bring to me or help me to do. Because there's a reason why this is the person, right? And I need to pray to understand whatever God needs me to understand about this person that He believes makes that person so special. Because I need to have the same level of respect and admiration and love for that person that God has for that person. Otherwise, I can't get it. And lastly, this one is a doozy, because like I said, I was, prior to stepping outside of myself and thinking about this thing from God's point of view, I was thinking all wrong. I'm thinking about like whether this person is going to cook for me, whether this person is going to feed me, because I highly value someone feeding me. Like, I said it in another video, like, I need some food. So, I'm thinking about all these different things. And then I started to think about, well, what if we don't get along? And that's fine. But here's the thing about that. Prayer changes things. If you don't pick your kingdom spouse, God picks your kingdom spouse. God sends you someone, right? It's going to take some time to get to know that person. And that's okay, right? And eventually, it's inevitable. You're going to find something about that person that you don't like, right? Okay. And so when you find that thing that you completely despise about that person, who is also the apple of God's eye, God's precious treasure, God's workmanship, He loves that person, you know what I'm saying? What do you do with that person? And what are your actions towards that person? Now, I hope that you will be mature enough to pray about it. If you're ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater because they left their socks on the floor and you hate that, then maybe you are not ready. I hope that you would want to take that issue to God in prayer, because that is what God will want you to do. That will be the mature thing for you to do, right? And then on the other hand, when you go to God in prayer, what are you saying? Are you praying to God that God would change that person? Or are you praying to God that He would change you? Because you could pray all day long, God, fix my spouse, fix this, fix that. They did this, they're doing that, this, and that. God is not going to take on to that as much as you hope that he would. The kind of prayer that he would respond to more than you pointing the finger at everyone else is the prayer where you point that finger at yourself. And you say, God, my spouse continues to leave their socks on the floor. Give me the strength. Give me the patience. Give me the perseverance, or do something within my heart to help me deal with this. Teach me how to communicate this issue to them in a way that will effectively help them to see that I really don't like this and it's bothering me. Or change my heart in a way to allow me to accept that this is the way that they are, to accept that I need to love them the way that they are. You know what I'm saying? Because if this is your destiny helper, are you going to allow the socks on the floor to deter you away from feeling the calling on your life? Because the devil is coming for that relationship because God put it together. So I had to step outside of myself and I had to ask God questions like, show me this person, reveal this person to me, help me to understand them, help me to understand their needs, and do so in a way that would allow me to see how I can help them. Because if you are kingdom and you are a kingdom citizen, you are here to serve. You are here to step outside of yourself. Again, if Jesus is the example, and Jesus operated through principles related to servant leadership theory. He served other people. He stepped outside. You gotta understand, he stepped outside of himself. He stepped off of his throne, out of comfy heaven, to come down here to a place full of sin. You know how nasty that is? To put up with us. And he did it all out of love. So he remains our example, right? And he was a servant. He served others. And that's how he operated, right? And so if he is going to be our example, then it can't be all about us. It can't be all about what we're going to gain. It can't be all about what they're going to do for me. It can't be all about, how are they going to make my life better? It has to be about, who are they? This precious treasure, the apple of your eye that you are giving me, that you are bringing into my life to love and to cherish and all that other good stuff. Help me to understand how I can be the best person I can be for your son or for your daughter. That is the mindset you have to take on. Like I said, I was guilty of this. Before I stepped outside of myself, you know what I'm saying? I'm still human. Before I stepped outside of myself and I considered it from God's perspective, I was thinking about myself. And that is very easy to do when you're single, right? But if you're saying, I want someone, I want a destiny helper, I want a partner, you know what I'm saying? I want somebody to slay demons with. Then it can't be about you. Gimme, and everything you want for yourself. Gimme. No, it has to be about what are you going to pour into that person. It has to be about communicating with God to understand, to have the wisdom to know what I can do with that person and for that person. Because as soon as you see yourself doing that for them, giving to them, pouring into them, loving them, then they are going to pour into you and love you. And you know what I'm saying? God is not going to give you a selfish person. Selfish people stay single. It isn't until you have the mindset that says, I'm ready to take on a partner, that you can get that thing. And so today's video was all about helping you transform your mind to receive a blessing like a kingdom spouse, if that's what you're looking for. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comment section, and I might make another video just for you. Until next time, bye.